Namaste. Today we'll be starting the exposition of the 45th Sutra of Sadhana Pada. It is about the result of Ishvara Pranidhana, which is the last niyama. In the last class, we have seen the results or the fruits of the other four niyamas: Shaucha, Santosha, Tapa, Swadhyaya. And today we are seeing the result of Ishvara Pranidhana. What does Ishvara Pranidhana culminate into? That is what we'll be looking at in this sutra. So, Samadhi Siddhir. Samadhi Siddhi is the perfection of Samadhi. That is the state when one accomplishes Samadhi. So, the sutra is saying that the accomplishment of Samadhi is possible through surrenderance to God. When one surrenders to God, that leads to the accomplishment of Samadhi. That is what is said in this sutra. Samadhi Siddhir Ishvara Pranidhanat. Okay, Ishvara Pranidhana, which is surrenderance to God, leads to the accomplishment of Samadhi. Is that clear? Okay. Now, what kind of surrenderance has to happen? Now, that is the important aspect, which is not mentioned directly in the sutra, but the meaning of the essence of the sutra conveys this. The person who surrenders with a bhakti bhava, with complete devotion, that kind of person will be able to accomplish Samadhi through Ishvara Pranidhana, not anybody and everybody. One might have bhakti, but only for certain benefits or gains. That bhakti doesn't lead to Samadhi. A devotion or bhakti, which is complete surrenderance. So complete surrenderance in the sense, like every act of that person is done with the thought of God, with the sense that he is offering that to God, having God in mind always. That is the sense with which one does anything. With that kind of bhakti, one will be able to accomplish the state of Samadhi. Okay? So without any desire, like what is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Nishkama Karma. When one does every act without any desire and with the sense of offering it to God, for such a person, Samadhi comes easily, effortlessly, and without any hindrance. Okay, why? Because it is said in the Bhashya or the commentary that the one who is very intent upon Ishvara Pranidhana, God is so pleased with that person. Okay, God is pleased. And God enables the kleshas and all other hindrances to go away. And when that is happening, he'll be able to enter into the states of Samadhi, because the hindrances are handled by the aspect of surrenderance to God. Like they have a very strong support from God. That is what is being said in the Bhashya. Okay, those kleshas, the troublesome aspects are all handled by the grace of God. Here, Samadhi would get manifested very easily. Now, you can always have this thought, if attaining Samadhi for a person who's surrendering to God is easy, what are the uses of other kinds then? Like, right, this might be the question that might be lingering in your mind now. When this is kind of easy, and when bhakti bhavana is intent and a person is able to completely be devoted to God and is able to attain Samadhi, which is the goal of yoga, right? What is the whole point of having other limbs, which are not that easy? Like you have seen, right? There are a lot of aspects which are very difficult for getting mastery in. all the yamas and niyamas are also not, except Ishvara Pranidhana, all other yamas and niyamas are not easy to achieve. Not easy at all. Now, why are those given and why is this given? Because yesterday I think I raised this point and I answered this, because there are different kinds of people. Not everybody has the same psyche. Their mindsets are very different. Now, if a person who doesn't have a pure heart which can be devoted, that person can never get into bhakti. That is only dhong, which is pretense. And the person is only spending time in by saying that he is praying or doing something, but it is for his own benefits. That is not devotion. That is not the Ishvara Pranidhana that they are referring to here. Okay, this Ishvara Pranidhana is a complete surrenderance with a pure feeling of devotion without any desire for oneself. That kind of feeling is the real feeling of Ishvara Pranidhana. Only such a person will be able to experience the states of Samadhi. Okay, and it cannot be created in the mind. It has to manifest on its own. We cannot imagine that there is Ishvara and start creating some imaginary objects. Okay, that state should actually arise. Okay, it will arise only when the mind is ready for it and the state of complete absorption has happened. Only in that state samadhi can accrue. Okay, and samadhi in another way, if you understand, is also said to be the resolution, like, and it is said to be the resolving of everything that is going on, the conflicts that are going on in the mind. Those conflicts are getting their resolution. Okay, it is the word resolution in Sanskrit is called samadhana. So when one is getting samadhana, when one is able to understand certain things which are kind of creating conflict in the mind, that state of samadhana, that resolution state, is also leading to samadhi. Okay, this way also they have connected it. This samadhana, which is the state of resolution, will actually help the mind become clear and very pleasant. Okay, is that clear to everybody? So this is the fruit of Ishvara Pranidhana. So one can accomplish samadhi. One can accomplish the state of samadhi through Ishvara Pranidhana. That is how powerful Ishvara Pranidhana is. Getting it? Should we move on to the next one?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So the 46th sutra says, it is about asana. It gives the definition of asana. The sutra is Thira Sukham Asanam. Now, what is the word sthira meaning here in with regards to asana? Sthira is the steadiness or the firmness that one attains. Like one can sit firmly without any movement for a very long time. That is sthira, without any movements. Sukham means being comfortable in that posture, being at ease in that posture. The body is not put into some troublesome, awkward situation. The body is feeling, the body and mind both are feeling at ease. So that comfort in that posture is called sukham. Okay, the experience that one is getting by sitting in a certain posture is sukham asanam. Okay, so asana, you see, they have clearly defined. It is not a contorted, difficult posture or something which is like breaking your bones and body. Asanam is that which helps you to sit firmly and being at ease with yourself. You're very comfortable in that posture. You feel at ease in that posture. Okay, it feels as if that is the posture that you would like to sit for a very long time in, right? So now there are some kind of I can say points what one has to keep in mind when I'm talking about comfortable. Sitting in a couch is also very comfortable. We can lie on the bed and comfortably sleep. Okay, is that an asanam? Yeah, that could be an asanam, but not an asanam which is very conducive for the practices of yoga, right? Sitting in a couch comfortably is not a very conducive posture for yoga, for the other limbs of yoga. Now, why are we doing asana? We are doing asana for preparing the body to sit through the practices that come next, which are pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. And all these practices after asana need the body to be really, really firm, need the body to be conducive for those practices. For those practices, we are preparing the body with the help of asana. Getting it? So everything that we do with regards to asana, the goal is to be able to make the body steady and help the body in staying comfortable in that posture for a long time. That is called as Sthira Sukham Asanam. Okay, for hours together, we are the person who's practicing the yogic techniques has to be able to sit through. One cannot, if the body starts hurting or there is some kind of discomfort arising in some part of the body, then that becomes a distraction or a hindrance. That has to be avoided. That is why they put asana in place. Getting it? So
Which should be avoided, or it should happen like that.
I didn't understand. Can you repeat?
Asha, that is what I'm telling is, if we are continuously sitting, for example, Padmasana or any asana, we will get uncomfort, no?
Yeah, we will get a certain kind of discomfort. That is why they
Ah.
have not mentioned, you see, they have not mentioned in the Vyasa Bhashya, which is one of the most important Bhashya of the Yogdarshana, they've not mentioned the name of the asanas. They have not mentioned the name of the asanas. They have said that asana is something in which you have to be steady, you have to feel comfortable in sitting in that posture. That is what they've said. They've never mentioned the name of any asana. Okay. Now, the other important points in the bhashya that I've seen are asana. As we know, we did see the vikshepas and the antarayas, right? We have seen the vikshepas and the
Yes.
antarayas in the samadhi pada, where the first vikshepa was vyadhi. And there is a correlation of asana with vyadhi. Now, this aspect helps in kind of handling vyadhi of the body. Okay, illness. And also sthyana, which is mental idleness. It also helps in making the mind agile, swift. It makes the mind work. And it also helps in the physical lethargy when one feels very lazy with the body. In that sense, also asana works. And in the Vikshepa Sahabhuvas, we have seen Angame Jayatva. Angame Jayatva is the unsteadiness of the limbs. There are tremors and there is some kind of shakiness in the limbs that we observe. That Angame Jayatva is also handled with the practice of asana. Now, what makes the body firm and what brings the body to a state where it becomes steady and comfortable in a particular posture? That a particular posture could be the posture like Sukhasana, Ardha Padmasana, Padmasana, Swastikasana. It could be any other, what is that? What are the other asanas which are mentioned? The meditative asanas.
Siddhasana.
Simhasana, Bhadrasana,
Yeah, Simhasana, Bhadrasana, Swastikasana. All these are,
Sukhasana.
yeah, yeah. So all these asanas, which are like, they are not using any of the ancillary units like the limbs, hands and legs. The main posture that is used is from the tip of the tailbone, the spinal cord to the head. That is what they are mostly interested in. That is why the limbs are all put in a particular manner, and especially the legs you see in all the meditative postures are folded. Because the main functionality that is happening is with the I can say the central part of the body, which is the head, neck and spine. That part of the body is what is used for the meditative practices, and that is what they are trying to study here. Okay, when you are able to sit with those three straight, head, neck and spine straight for a long time, that is what leads to meditative or the deeper states of practices. Okay, so now as I said, what is intended is thiram, okay, which is stability. And one has to be motionless, which is nischala. They shouldn't keep moving. I mean, my leg is hurting, I'll stretch my leg, I will turn this side, that side, like I will slouch, I will bend myself a little bit. Those things are must be avoided when one is in the deeper practices. So the body should be sthira, nischala, which is motionless. Okay, nishkampa, it shouldn't tremble or tremor. It shouldn't shake. Okay, nishkampa. You see, after doing some very hard practices, the body, the muscles start trembling. You cannot hold the posture for a longer time, isn't it? So that also is not advised. When you see that there is some kind of tremor or shaking in the body, you have to stop it there. Okay, which means the body is still not there, it is not ready. That is why you see the meditative asanas are not dhanurasana, or it is not mayurasana or shirshasana. Those asanas are not meditative. They very specifically mentioned, right? Siddhasana, Padmasana, Bhadrasana and Swastikasana or Padmasana. Okay, so these are the asanas. You see, in all these asanas, the head, neck and spine are straight. And the legs are folded, the hands are put in a certain kind of position. Right? So all these asanas which are conducive for meditation practices are the ones which are indicative from the sutra. Not the contorted postures where you're putting the head down and legs up, or you're bending your body into a ball. Not those kind of postures. Those postures which are mentioned in the Hatha text are useful for making the body strong, but not for sitting in meditative postures. Okay, not for sitting in meditation with those postures. Getting it? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So the
ma'am,
posture must not. Huh.
so there is any time limit that you have to study on that posture, or it is means how
It is in one of the comments I read, the meditative posture attains perfection when you are able to sit without any movement, without trembling, not being subjected to agitation, with ease and with full comfort for 3 hours 36 minutes. That is the time mentioned in one of the bhashya that I've read.
okay.
So these aspects are very important. Now we are sitting for 3.5 hours and your knees start hurting, your ankles start hurting, you feel very, very, I mean, you don't feel good with it. Now, that is not Sthira Sukham Asana. The definition of Sthira Sukham Asana is you're sitting for 3.5 hours with a stable posture, with motionless, without any tremble, without any agitation. The body is at ease, and it is bringing some kind of comfort to you. That is why you're able to sit for such a long time. That is called Sthira Sukham Asana. Okay, only when the posture fulfills all these conditions that I've mentioned, the sthirata, nischalata, nishkampa, and there should not be any udvega, agitation. The posture should have sukha, comfort. It should give you ease. Okay? These are the
Can you say it again? Nischalata,
kampa. Nishkampa is without trembling.
Next.
Then anudveganiya. Anudveganiya means without any agitation. The body should not be subjected to agitation.
Okay.
Sukha.
Okay.
Only when the posture fulfills all these conditions, that is when it becomes the anga of yoga, which is described in Yoga Sutras. Otherwise, it is not one of the anga of the Yoga Sutras. It might be something else. Did I make myself clear?
Yes.
Yeah. Should we move ahead to the next sutra? Anybody has any questions on this before I go into the next sutra? Because this is one of the important sutras.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm proceeding to the next sutra, which is the 47th sutra. Now, the 47th sutra is it's a continuation of the asana definition that we have seen in the 46th sutra. What it says is, like, when do we establish ourselves in an asana? Like, we have said that asana must be sthira sukham. Only then it will be called as an asana, which is one of the anga of the Ashtanga Yoga. Now, how is the mastery of the asana happening? What are the characteristics of mastery? Those characteristics are given in the 47th sutra. Prayatna Shaitilya. Prayatna Shaitilya. Prayatna, you know, is the effort that we put into anything. Prayatna. And Shaitilya is loosening of that effort. Okay, we are relaxing that effort. Prayatna Shaitilya is initially when you might have practiced Padmasana to kind of sit in that cross-legged posture, put your feet of your right foot, the right foot on the left thigh and the left foot on the right thigh. That might have been difficult in the initial days if you have not started yoga in your younger ages. When you have started yoga and the body is not really conducive for it, so you might have struggled with it, right? But when you have really learned how to sit in a cross-legged posture, it becomes a little easier, right? The effort that you put to make the asana possible kind of becomes a little more relaxed, because now your body is able to adopt to that asana. But here, that kind of adaptation is kind of moved to an extent where it reaches the top scale. Okay, so without any effort, if one is able to, okay, prayatna shaitilya, by loosening all the effort that we put, okay, ananta samapattibhyam. Ananta, here it is, the commentaries are kind of giving the meaning of ananta in different ways. Ananta is referred to as the serpent, which is the Adi, Shesha, Ananta. And Ananta is also referred to as endlessness. Ananta, which is endlessness.
क्या हुआ? अच्छा नहीं है ना? ठीक था?
Somebody's mic is not on mute.
Simi ma'am, Simi.
Sorry.
Okay, so Ananta is endless also. Ananta, it refers to the serpent. I will talk a little bit about that aspect also, but to me personally, I felt the endlessness might be more relatable. We can look at it in both the ways. I'll explain about that. So, as I told you, Ananta means the serpent, which is the Ananta Naga, and Samapatibhyam is the joining. Okay, through joining. Okay, what is that? Again, I will explain in a little bit. Now, through joining this microcosm, which is our existence, our body and mind, with the macrocosm, okay, which is the cosmic creation. Okay, when one understands that these aspects are intertwined and they are kind of the microcosm is the I can say the anumatra of the macrocosm, and the macrocosm is the zoomed version of the microcosm. So when one gets into this kind of understanding, that is called as samapatibhyam, through joining that. I mean, the mind is able to cognize it so well that the internal aspect is cognized with the external aspect. That is what is said in the commentary. Now, I'll start explaining about this. Prayatna Shaitilya means one relaxes the effort that is going into the asana. When one learns to relax the effort that is going into asana, that happens when there is Ananta Samapatibhyam. So there is a joining. So the body loses its identity here. How it loses its identity is because of the understanding that what is existing in the whole cosmos is also present in the body. So that understanding kind of transcends the identity associated with the body. Okay, and because of that understanding, there is the causes of discomfort and instability are gone. Why? Because of that understanding. If you, I think you didn't start Yoga Bija and the other Hatha Yoga texts. No? You're only doing Hatha Pradipika right now. Okay, so there is a good concept where they explain about the microcosm and the macrocosm. That aspect, when one understands, when one starts understanding, the body itself has everything that is present outside: the rivers, the mountains, the sky, the fire, the earth element. Everything that we see outside is also part of our body. Okay, this kind of understanding dawns on a person. That is why they loosen the effort. Okay, that mental understanding, that tendency of understanding the Ananta, it is endless. Okay, that helps in the union, in the joining, in the Samapatibhyam. Okay, the posture is perfected and made steady and comfortable through relaxing the effort and joining the awareness with the endlessness. What are we doing? In that posture, there is some kind of awareness that is created in the mind, right? When the posture is so comfortable, there is some awareness that is created in the mind, and that awareness, joining of that awareness with the endlessness. You know what I mean by endlessness. The endlessness relates to the micro and macrocosm. Okay, that endlessness, this awareness of the body, which is feeling at ease, is joined with the endlessness. Okay, so that joining is called Samapatibhyam. Okay, this is what will give the posture its effortlessness. Okay, the posture becomes very steady and comfortable by kind of relaxing the effort and joining the mind field with the infinite, the endless. Okay, so these are the two aspects which are important to understand. What are the causes of instability? I think we have seen that. So there are a lot of disturbances that we see, like emotional disturbances, physical disturbances. There's something that is unsettled in life. Yeah, so because of these kind of aspects and constant involvement with the worldly affairs. Okay, and for some, even if it appears as a sacred pursuit on the surface, like desire to visit pilgrimages and such other places, those also are in a way hindrances and cause instability. And one other cause is like fatigue from too much of physical and mental activity. Some people go overboard, putting themselves out, and it becomes quite uncomfortable for the body and mind. That fatigue also leads to instability. So these aspects, like what causes instability, when one is able to understand that, the emotional disturbances, the unsettled life, the constant involvement with the worldly affairs, and fatigue because of too much of physical and mental activity, these kind of causes must be understood and avoided. Okay, for getting a steady and a comfortable posture. Okay, when that is achieved is by kind of relaxing the effort and by joining the mind field with the endlessness. So there is an awareness when one is able to sit in that posture. When one is able to join the awareness with the infinite, that kind of awareness is called as samapattibhyam. Okay, joining the awareness with the infinite is called as ananta samapattibhyam. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So, ma'am,
Here,
ma'am, one of the expositions that I heard, Ananta means breath, ma'am. That is one I have heard.
what
Have
does it
you?
mean?
Ananta means breath, ma'am. The more and more we connect or like whatever, we develop our awareness with the breath, the asana becomes more and more effortless, ma'am. One of the this thing what I heard earlier.
The breath aspect is given in the coming sutras, in the next sutras. It's
Yeah,
about, this is about particularly about asana. See, to be able to understand this, just imagine your own self like you're sitting in some posture which is very comfortable to you. And imagine your state of mind like you have zero vrittis in your mind. Like there is nothing that is troubling you in your head. Like you're free of everything and you're able to sit in that posture. Okay, now what are you able to, when you're able to dwell in the present, like the awareness of your own existence, that awareness, when you're able to join it with the infinite, what is infinite? The cosmic creation, right? With the understanding that what we have in this contour, the body, the same thing is existing outside. So that understanding creates a union that is called samapattibhyam.
So, ma'am, when usually when they say which are the slokas dedicated towards asana thing, it's 46 and 47, ma'am.
46
Or
and
the 48 also comes, ma'am.
48 also comes in
Oh,
asana only.
okay. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Because asana will kind of enable the person to combat the dvandva, the opposites. Okay, asana, the result of asana is also to be able to combat the dualities or the dvandva aspect, like the person will be able to withstand the opposites, heat, cold, pain, pleasure. He won't be reacting. I'll tell you why he won't be reacting. Because of his sensorium. The sensorium changes a lot when one perfects asana. Okay. So when the coming back to this particular sutra, Ananta Samapatibhyam, when the mind field is merged into that endlessness, which can be imagined as space, Ananta, it would reach an uninterrupted identification. Okay, it isn't it, when we are imagining ourselves to be Ananta, it would reach to an uninterrupted identification, and it will start losing its ahankara, that I-ness, that identity that it has created with the body. Okay, the ahankara associated with the individual, the identity with the body, that ceases, and the posture no longer creates any kind of discomfort for such a person. And what I observe in this particular explanation of the sutra is, it is a lot of mental training. You see, it is physical training also, like we should make our bodies steady, head, neck, and spine straight, sit in a certain posture. But how is a person training the mind to be able to sit in that posture? Is through that Ananta Samapatibhyam, the training that the mind field is merging into that endlessness, Ananta. Okay. And with that merging into that Ananta, the endlessness, there is that joining, that union that one is able to experience, that awareness. Okay, so by the endlessness aspect, as I told you this, I want to clarify once again, what is in the universe that is also present in the body. Okay, the images that we see of the vastness are then assimilated into the kind of cosmology of the meditator. The mind also imagines that vastness of the universe, the cosmos. So these cosmic images are viewed as the experiences of the internal universe. You're seeing how they are relating it. That is why they're calling it as Ananta Samapatibhyam. Okay, the mind starts to imagine the vastness, and that is assimilated into the interior cosmology of the person who's sitting in that asana. Okay, so this is what is said. Another exposition or commentary that I've read about this Ananta is Adi Shesha.
हाँ यार, इसे रखा मैं समझ बता नहीं यार, स्वयं से रखी थी.
Simi, you are.
Please check your mic. Don't be so casual about it because it disturbs the flow. Okay, so Adi Shesha is nothing but the Ananta also. That's the serpent which they are referring to. It is seen as the Kundalini. Okay, the Kundalini, the Kundalini, which is the 3.5 the coils that is referred to in the Hatha text. That Kundalini is also referred to as Ananta. Okay, and sage Patanjali is also referred to as an incarnation of Shesha. So these are the different kinds of references that they have given in the commentary. Okay, so the oral tradition, what it says is asana must be maintained. As I said earlier, it should be maintained for 3.36 hours. That is in absolute stillness without even a minutest tremble anywhere in the whole body, and with such a frame of awareness about the universe within the mind, okay, within me. So with this kind of awareness, if the yogi is able to sit, okay, that is called the state of samapatti-bhyam. Okay, this will lead to samadhi also. Okay, the yogi will be led into the state of samadhi with the asana. Can I move on to the next one?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, can I ask?
Yes, please.
Ma'am, can we say that this Ananta Samapatti can be in the cyclic meditation at the last stage? What we are getting is it can be related to Samapatti-pyam, Ananda Samapatti-pyam?
Yeah, kind of, but not totally. Like in cyclic meditation, towards the end, yes, they give you that awareness, right? They
Yes.
give you that awareness. Yeah, you can imagine it that way, but this is an even deeper state, Shuja. Is that Shuja?
Yes, yes. Okay.
Yeah. So this can be imagined as an even deeper state, like a state where you are so deeply immersed that there is no other vritti, nothing in the head.
Okay, ma'am.
In cyclic meditation, that happens for a few minutes, right?
Yes, ma'am.
In that there are so many things that happen, and the part that concludes cyclic meditation is just for a few minutes.
Okay,
Right?
okay, okay.
So if this extends to a longer duration and one is able to sit in that state without any disturbance, physical, mental, so 3.36 hours is what they've suggested.
Yeah.
Okay. Not easy, but yeah, that is what they've suggested.
So how is it different from dhyana?
Dhyana, again, the procedure is different, right? Dhyana is done with something in dhyana. There are various ways in which one enters into dhyana. So we know that dhyana can be done based on an object and without an object. Saguna, nirguna. Right? So some people start their dharana practices using a lamp or the mantra or the om, looking at om or the deity. Okay, when that aspect deepens, they move from saguna to nirguna. Okay, so you see, there is not a perfect line that divides these states, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Okay, there's not a perfect line that divides it. There is an overlap that we see, but all that matters is the end is the samadhi, which is the highest form of samadhi, that is asampragnata samadhi, where we come to a state where the buddhi is becoming nullified. That is the final state. So we are moving up the rung, one step after the other, by leaving all the aspects which are the alambhanas, the support of prakriti. Okay, slowly we don't want that form also. We are able to, without the form also, we are able to sit in a very deep state of meditation and enter into those states. Getting it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, these three have an overlap. But when one starts off, it is first through dharana, then dhyana, then samadhi. In one of the Hatha Yoga texts, one or two of the Hatha Yoga texts, you will have the duration of dharana Then you have the duration of the dhyana and the duration of samadhi. Like what duration of dharana leads to dhyana? What duration of dhyana leads to samadhi? Okay, these aspects are defined, like the time, precise time. So let me move on to the 40.
How much time for dharana? Dharana, how much time?
12 seconds.
No, dharana must be done for 5 ghatis, which is 2 hours. 5 ghatis is 2 hours. Dharanas are given as these are the explanations that are given in the Hatha Yoga text for the Panchadharana. Parthavi, Ambasi, Vayavi, Akashi. So these dharanas, each dharana takes about 5 ghatis. 5 ghatis is nothing but 2 hours. 120 minutes. Okay.
Ma'am, can you repeat those names once?
They will all come. You are talking about dharanas?
I just now you repeated some Akashi something. We will learn those, ma'am, in the future classes.
A lot of times, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
these will come up in the Hatha Yoga texts. These are there. So anyway, if you want me to repeat them now, the first one is Parthavi, which is the dharana related to earth. Parthavi, Ambasi is the dharana related to water element. Then Agni, which is related to fire. Vayavi, which is related to wind. And Akashi, which is related to space or ether. Okay, there are specific
you.
symbols, colors, and the bija mantras associated with each of these dharanas. When one is able to cognize those aspects and meditate on those aspects for 2 hours continuously, that is when they will be able to attain a particular kind of siddhi, I can say. Okay. Yeah, again, we are digressing into something else. That is why it's taking so long. Okay, so today in the beginning, I was saying that we should increase the number of sutras, and some of them have agreed. I should be able to take like 7 to 10 sutras per class. That should be the ideal way.
No, 5 only enough.
Yeah, because we are going very deep into it. From an examination point of view, this kind of depth might not be necessary. And when you look at the questions, you have to be very perfect with the sutras. Now, I really don't know how you're preparing the sutras, chanting especially. That is very important. That is the key to crack the exam, especially the sutra, the Yogdarshan. If you don't learn the sutras, you will not be able to answer the questions because you will not remember the words. If you are not memorizing the sutras, it will be very difficult. What is the basis on which you will understand it? They will ask for the words in the sutras. They will ask you to match the words with the meanings. These things are seen as questions in the past papers. The understanding part, yes, they will not ask you to write theory about it. But it is always good to know. That is why I'm taking all the pain to help you understand the sutra, every word of the sutra. But from an examination point of view, what is important is the word in the sutra. That word, if you understand the meaning of that word, if you understand, you will be able to you will be able to crack the question. Okay. So have that as your goal. I mean, we can always have these discussions. That should be your goal. Okay. So yeah, without any delay, I would like to go into the 48th sutra, which is Tatho Dvandva Anabhighataha. Tatho means it is referring to that which we have just understood. So following that, following what? Prayatna Shaidilya Ananta Samapatibhyam. Following that, Dvandva anabhighataha, the pair of opposites. Pair of opposites means the dichotomies that exist. What are the dichotomies that we generally see? Are pain and pleasure, heat and cold, hunger and thirst. These are the kind of dichotomies that we experience. These dichotomies or pairs of opposites are impeded, okay, or one will not have any impact because of these dvandvas, because of these pairs of opposites. Getting it? So following the previous sutra, a person who is practicing the asanas in a very religious way, that person will no longer be impeded by the pair of opposites. Okay. Now, what happens to the person's sensorium? That is an important thing to understand. Why will he not be able to sense these opposites? Is he becoming numb to them? What is happening with his sense organs? Are the sense organs not able to perceive them? These are the kind of questions that I had, and that is why I understood this aspect from the commentary, that the tactile function, which is the signals that are sent from the sense organs to the brain, and from the brain back to the sense organs, kind of become quietened. They are not like active, very active, like sending messages back and forth, the sense organ to the brain and brain to the sense organ. They've become a little inactive. Okay, when they have become inactive, these dualities will slowly stop bothering the person. When the sense organs are really working, are like very active and working at their peak level, that is when we'll be able to sense many things. But here, when that asana is practiced to that extent, that those signals are quietened, and that is helping a person to sit through these meditation practices. When these dvandvas are not affecting the person, he's able to sit for longer. He wants that state. He doesn't want to be affected or disturbed or distracted by these things. That is what is coming his way. Getting it? Tato dvandva anabhighataha. The pair of opposites don't affect him. He doesn't get troubled or he doesn't suffer because of the pair of opposites. Even if it is pleasure or pain, happiness, sadness, these things don't affect. Getting it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So should I move on to the 49th sutra?
Okay, ma'am.
Just check the time. Yeah, we still have 12 minutes. Pranayama. This sutra talks about the first sutra of pranayama. Now, what is pranayama? Tasmin sati shwasa prashwasa gati yor gati vichedaha pranayama. So this is actually starting with the sutra related to the incorrect practice of pranayama. They are trying to correct one's breathing pattern here in this sutra. That is the first sutra related to pranayama. And where is it starting? As the 49th sutra, just after the completion of the asana sutras. When there is mastery of asana, that is when Sage Patanjali has asked the person to enter into pranayama. The sequence is pretty logical and very clear. Only after one is able to conquer the disturbances of the body, get rid of those disturbances, then you will be able to go into the subtler aspects of breath. That is why he has put it in the 49th place. Tasmin. So after having accomplished perfection in the posture, after having accomplished a steady and a comfortable posture, Shwasa prashwasa, then you have to work on your inhalation and exhalation movement. What is that? he's saying that the shwasa and prashwasa gati, the movement of the inhalation and exhalation, vichedaha, we need to work on that. Vichedaha is kind of the meaning is breaking, but I'll help you understand what that breaking is. So for now, understand vichedaha is to disrupt that pattern. We normally have a breathing pattern, right? If we don't work on pranayama aspects, we generally, without pranayama aspects, we have a certain breathing style, right? We breathe for 16 to 18 times in a minute, and some people do more or less. We don't breathe fully. There is most of the time shallow breathing, right? And we breathe through mouth. We have different ways of breathing, right? All these things, he's just putting a check on these things. Shwasa prashwasa gati vichedaha pranayamaha. So he's saying uncontrolled breath is a symptom of disturbed mental state. We know that, right? When the breathing is not regulated, when it's not proper, it is a symptom of a disturbed mind. So he is saying that have a check on your inhalation and exhalations. Shwasa prashwasa gati. Have a check on the inhalation and exhalation movement. Kind of, what are you doing here? You are breaking the old pattern. You are breaking the pattern that you got used to. You are breaking what? You're not breaking the, you're not putting a kumbhaka after inhalation or exhalation. That is not vichedaha, or you're not stopping your breath altogether. Okay, this is not the meaning of vichedaha. Here the word vichedaha means you're kind of changing or disrupting the pattern that you've already gotten used to. You might have been breathing a certain way all through your life. Now that you understand that these patterns have to be changed, that change in the pattern of the inhalation and exhalation is what he's calling as pranayama, which is expansion of prana. Okay, now in the following sutras, following 2 or 3 sutras, he's only giving the explanation about what exactly happens in pranayama. Okay, now this first sutra related to pranayama talks about the disruption of the old pattern. Break the old pattern. That is wrong. So break it, and from now on you start practicing the proper way. Okay, for breaking the incorrect breathing pattern that seems to be so natural with us, right? That is gati vichedaha. That is explicitly mentioned. You see, gati vichedaha. You have to break the incorrect breathing pattern which you have become so used to. Okay, that is what is very important in this particular sutra. Okay, getting it? So there are jerky movements, there is uncontrolled breathing movement. So sometimes you breathe more, sometimes you breathe less. The breathing is not harmonious, it's not rhythmical. There are a lot of issues with the breath. Right? This is what he's trying to highlight, but he's not trying to say that you have to stop yourself from inhaling and exhaling. That is not what he's meaning here. Okay, like expelling of the air that is already inhaled, like countering the urge to breathe again. You're getting it? Like understanding the movement of the breath. Like while you're exhaling, you're trying to understand the movement of the breath. And while inhalation also, you're trying to understand the movement of the breath. Why? Because you want to change those old patterns. That is nothing but the gati vichedaha. This sutra talks about that. Okay. So the next sutra actually goes into the Rechaka, Puraka and Kumbhaka aspects. Okay. The next sutra, which is the 50th sutra, talks about the outward breath, the inward breath, and also the suspension or the holding of the breath. Getting it? So just to give you an insight, I mean, a brief introduction about the three phases of pranayama. I think some of you have already understood about this, but for the others, there are three stages or phases of pranayama. One is puraka, which is called as inhalation in English. Puraka, you're filling yourself up. Okay. Rechaka, which is exhalation. Kumbhaka is holding the breath. So this kumbhaka might be the kumbhaka after your inhalation, which is called antar kumbhaka. When it is after the exhalation, it's called as bahya kumbhaka. Okay, so antara and bahya kumbhaka, if we put it together as kumbhaka, now you see there are three main stages of pranayama: puraka, rechaka, and kumbhaka. So when one is advancing in pranayama practices, what happens is, for a beginner, these three come as separate, like puraka, rechaka, and kumbhaka. Like you do puraka practice, rechaka practice, and kumbhaka practice. So these three become like, you don't try to hold your breath for a long time for the beginners. So these three become in sequence. So it's called as pranayama altogether. Now, for an advanced person who has mastered the pranayama aspect, which is the preliminary practice through the ratios, through the 1:4:2 ratio, when one has mastered that ratio, for those people, for the advanced practitioners, for them, they can actually have separate stage of kumbhaka. Okay, they don't need rechaka and puraka. Okay, they can be in the kumbhaka state for a longer time. Okay, for them, kumbhaka becomes the pranayama. Okay, as you see in hatha practices, they only call it as kumbhaka. They don't call it as pranayama, right? Yes or no? It is called kumbhaka. It is not called
Yes.
pranayama. So what does that indicate? Those practices are for the people who have mastered the basics. Okay, they have changed their breathing pattern. They've become very comfortable with the breath. They have done all that which needs to be done as a preliminary practice. And then they are now in the state where they can do kumbhaka. That is why they call it as Surya Bedi Kumbhaka, Ujjayi Kumbhaka, Vastrika Kumbhaka, Brahmari Kumbhaka, Murcha Kumbhaka, Lavani Kumbhaka. All these are called kumbhakas because they have mastered the basics. Only after the disruption of the incorrect breathing happens, when one is able to breathe properly, that is when kumbhaka has to be practiced. That is what I'm trying to say. Now, this is clear, right? This sutra, Tasmin Sati, based on the, after completing the asana part, Shwasa Prashwasa Yorgati Vichedaha Pranayama. So you are trying to disrupt the incorrect breathing pattern and establish yourself in pranayama. Okay. Now going to the 50th. Should we do the 50th sutra today? Or stop it here?
Ma'am, it's an important sutra, no ma'am. We'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah. So it's already 9:59. We'll stop it here. We'll do it tomorrow. So most probably tomorrow we'll complete the second chapter. Okay. We'll complete all 6 sutras, 50 to 55. Okay. Be prepared for that. Now,
the chapter 2 is also included, ma'am, for the test on Sunday.
yes.
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So who would like to quickly revise the 45th sutra? Rajeshwari ji, do you want to do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Will do, ma'am. So the 45th sutra is Samadhi Siddhihi Ishvara Pranidhanat. Basically, He's explaining here the fruits of Ishvara Pranidhana. So, if we are looking for the accomplishment of samadhi, a successful samadhi, it can be attained only with the complete surrender bhavana to the God. So now how do you surrender? You have to surrender with complete bhakti bhavana. Every act should be done with the God in the mind, so that the God helps to remove the kleshas and obstacles.
Yes. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Lipalika, do you want to explain the 46th Sutra? Is Lipalika there?
No, ma'am. She's
Shuja,
not
can
there.
you do that? Shuja, can you explain?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Sthira Sukham Asana. So, according to this sutra, Patanjali explains about asana concept. So, any position which is comfortable to sit and do meditation is called as asana. So, in that position, the head and neck spine should be straight. So, it will help in going to the deeper state of practices. So
Yes.
in the commentary, they have mentioned that in the asana, it should be sthiram, it should be stable, and it should give comfort, sukham, and it should be nischala, no mobility should be there, and nishkamba, no tremor, and it should be anudveg, no agitation should be there in the asana.
Yes. Yes. Very good. So should we go to the 47th Sutra? Can I ask Sarika to explain the 47th Sutra?
Yeah, so after being in the asana, the next, the characteristics of mastery of the asana being explained in 47 as Prayatna Shaithilyat Ananta Samapatitya. So here, Prayatna Shaithilya is loosening the effort, and Ananta Samapati is joining of the microcosm with the macrocosm. So my mind is able to cognize well.
Yeah. So joining the awareness that we have with the endlessness.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when one relaxes the
Okay, go ahead. I'll ask later.
so when one relaxes the effort going into the asana, then is this joining of the awareness.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the most important point. Yes. Next,
Yeah.
please.
Ma'am, I was asking that microcosm is awareness, macrocosm is the infinite, like the Brahma, right?
Microcosm is the individual, the jiva.
Yeah.
In the jiva arises the awareness. You're right to a certain extent. Where does the awareness arise? Within the jiva, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So the microcosm and macrocosm are the references to the jiva and the brahmanda, or the pinda and brahmanda. Right? When there is the awareness of the brahmanda by the jiva, that is when that if the ananta samapatibhyam, he is able to acquire that state.
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
Now, can I ask Simi to explain the 48th one? Is she there?
I
No,
think
ma'am.
she's not there in the
Yeah, Madhura, can you explain the 48th sutra?
Tato dvandva nabhighatah means after that it removes the duality of the mind.
Yeah, can you explain it in a little more detail?
No, Shand.
Anybody who wants to explain this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please.
So in this state, when the asana state is achieved, Then the tactile function, the signal to the brain and back to the organs, the sensations become very little inactive. So thus will not feel different sensations like pain and pleasure, hot and cold. So these are called dualities of the opposites. So they
Yeah.
become reduced.
Exactly. Thank you. 49th Sutra, who wants to explain? Shravani, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
In the 49th sloka, Sutra Tasmin, after having the steady posture, Swasa Prasvasa, the inhalation and exhalation should be the gati of those Swasa and Prasvasa, the movement of the inhalation and exhalation, and Vichedaha, the break or cessation of that movement is called Pranayama. Means that we need to observe the movement and the pattern of the breath that we are already used to. Then after that, we are trying to change that pattern is called pranayama.
Yeah, here we are trying to disrupt the old pattern. We are trying to disrupt the old breathing pattern.
And try to correct that pattern.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So thank you all. That's it. Any questions before we end the session today? I'll stop the recording now.